Breaking news, the Wuhan supervirus outbreak is continuing its rampage around the world. 6,000 confirmed cases today, over 100 dead. It's worse than the SARS epidemic. We're going to be getting into the numbers, the comparisons, as well as the very disturbing news from Paris after a major incident in one of their hospitals. They're saying a patient zero went through the ER over there and stayed at their hospital for over a day before being identified as a Wuhan virus victim. And this is exactly what happened in Hong Kong during the SARS epidemic in 2003. Patient zero came running through there and became a super spreader. Doctors, nurses infected, and this is a major blow in this war against the virus when a hospital basically gets taken out. And of course, all the people, that are going through there, and, all the people that they talk to. And of course, the nature of this virus, it looks so weaponized. People that aren't exhibiting symptoms are going to be contagious. They're not going to be showing a fever necessarily and the like. And, the way this is just taking people out, people are just dropping dead. I mean, it's like nothing anyone has ever seen before. A weaponized virus, to say the least, that has the ability to contaminate even infectious disease specialists. We're learning of new cases every day of people that are trained, highly trained in the field of viruses and the like, being infected by this virus. Seems like there's something going on here that they're just not telling us. But of course, in China, it looks like, they're treating this like it did escape their lab. They've shut down, 24 cities pretty much, and 50 million people on total lockdown. They've closed down Disneyland, canceled all sorts of New Year's celebrations and the like. And if we look at the SARS outbreak, it didn't really ramp up until the month of March, even though it began somewhere in October or December. And it's pretty much the same thing as its new cousin, the Wuhan virus, coronavirus. And right now, the numbers are already worse than that whole outbreak of SARS. And, it's only January. So we can't even imagine where this is going. The models are forecasting up to 250 million people killed. Now, you might think to yourself, well, it's only got a 2 or 3%, kill rate, so you should be okay. The Spanish flu only had a 2 or 3% kill rate, and that ended up killing 50 million people. Will it be the same or not is a different question. People should actually be more worried about the flu these days than, necessarily a super virus. And that's because these EMF towers, these cell towers, are weakening people's immune systems. If you look at, who's been killed by the flu lately, compared to like the 1990s, I mean, the numbers are just through the roof. Something is happening. It's like the autism. It's part of the eugenics program. It's part of that Georgia Guidestone's promise to kill everybody out there. That's who's running the show, and undoubtedly that's who's unleashing these viruses. It's part of the New World Order demonic agenda, if you can believe that, ladies and gentlemen. You think you could believe that? Or do you think that's highly impossible? We've played the videos of basically people exhibiting the mark of the beast right there on their foreheads. They look demonic and the like. And, if it looks like the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes, then you better pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, because that's exactly what's going on. We've got videos of super spreaders with the virus basically spitting on elevator buttons and the like, doing untold damage. And I don't think we'll find out like the real magnitude of this epidemic for at least another 30 days. And if it's anything like SARS, which it is, it shouldn't peak until somewhere in the month of March. So there's going to be quite a few more cases. Of course, if you're just joining us, big breaking news, major incident in the city of Paris after containment protocols were broken. Seems like a patient zero made his way into the ER and stayed at that hospital for at least a day or more before they moved him to containment. and there's no telling how many other people like that are out there, to say the least. Of course, this virus is like nothing nobody has ever seen before, to say the least. People just dropping dead, and the Chinese are treating it like it's Pandora's box, like it's the end of the world. They've cut off entire cities, and cities like Chicago or New York, totally cut off from the world, to say the least. And we're seeing citizens basically take the law into their own hands, quarantining people, and even trying to lynch people that are breaking quarantine. And people can tell if somebody from out of state has come into their town, and they're just basically witch hunting everyone out there right now. Supplies are getting low and the like, and there's no telling exactly how many people have been killed right now. The videos that came out early on during the outbreak, basically day 1 or day 2 after the quarantine, said that at least 100,000 people have been infected. We're getting reports that anybody and everybody that's uploaded a video that you're seeing shown here via TikTok or whatever has been arrested, and there's really no more videos, no more information from citizens showing up on the internet. But everything that we have been able to compile, and we've pretty much compiled everything that has surfaced, shows quite a few people basically drop dead, collapse, pass out, you name it, from this virus. And that seems to be something consistent in terms of these cases and the like. So I'm sure we'll learn more about exactly the true nature of what's going on out here. But the Chinese have described this as a demonic virus, and it seems like the people that are infected are trying to spread it. And that's really the way this virus works. How most viruses work, they just try to turn people into incubators. And there's a lot to be said about how they work and why they work and the like, and we'll probably try and get into that sometime soon. If you're just joining us, the cases have just exploded as expected. 6,000 as of early today. I'm sure we'll get another update in the next few hours, and it's probably expected to jump another couple thousand as well. A lot of suspected cases, and this virus is so virulent. It's like nothing anyone has ever seen before, the way it attacks, and the infection rate is highly suspicious, to say the least. But we're not going to get into case studies right now. I think that this will kind of come out as time goes on, but it seems like minute exposure basically ensures infection here. And again, we're not going to get into the case studies, but everything that we've seen right now tells us that anyone that just basically stepped foot in Wuhan during the beginning of this epidemic was infected. And the numbers are just surreal, to say the least. That's all you can really say, is how quickly this thing went from nothing to a huge catastrophe where every city is infected and they're just shutting everything down. And again, if we compare this to SARS, I mean, this thing is like 100 times more aggressive. We've already seen more cases in the first few weeks of this outbreak than the entire SARS outbreak and the like. And they were real late, kind of telling people about it back then as well. And it wasn't until mid-February that there was even an announcement. And by mid-March, I mean, it was just crazy, even though there were cases before that. So, everybody that's looking at this, is thinking to themselves, this is like nothing anyone has ever seen before. and we could go round and round. We'd like to have everybody just kind of go through the video archives. We've covered a lot of different angles of the story, but right now, the cases that we're looking at are the new arrivals and domestic to domestic propagation. As soon as we start getting sustained propagation outside of the Asian continent, then we know that we're looking at something much worse than anything anyone has ever seen recently, to say the least. And I think we'll just have to leave it there for this broadcast. There isn't much more to report right now other than what we've already said and this new information. Of course, more countries are reporting first cases, and the numbers are growing. 7 in Australia. We've got now 5 cases confirmed in France, and this is going to explode. Germany, there's 4 cases, and we're still waiting to hear from other countries. But there's a lot of cases that have gone basically off the radar, and they're not being confirmed or denied by various countries. So we're just going to keep an eye on the numbers, but right now it's just kind of growing exponentially, to say the least. And of course, this is a demonic virus. This is an Agenda 21 bioweapon out to kill basically old people. For the most part, that's what seems to be the major target of this virus, and that's because they're still clinging on to their traditional values and the like, as well as taxing the system with Social Security or the like. So be on the lookout out there. We'll keep you updated as this virus progresses, but we're expecting a very major change on the European front, and it seems like the virus was able to penetrate one of these hospitals, and it could be that many doctors and nurses have been infected, and they've been able to infect other patients and the like, and then it just becomes a chain reaction. And seeing how quickly this thing spreads, I mean, I think the numbers are going to go up quite significantly in the next 15 to 30 days. Be on the lookout for that. Till the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.